On the air.
All right, it's 4 o'clock. We're going to call this meeting to order. Can I get a roll call?
Bruce Richardson.
Ann Zimmerman.
Matthew Smith.
Larry Pankratz.
Bonnie Schamberger.
Denny Walgren.
All right, and request confirmation from staff. Kansas Open Records Act required notice has been properly provided.
It has.
Meeting.
Oh, we did the roll. I did that backwards, but that's all right.
That's all right, yes.
All right, we're going to go to number 2. Item number 2, introduction of guests.
I don't have any guests on the agenda today. However, we do have a new staff member that I'd like to introduce. Her name is Sarah Hagman. She's our recreation
Hi,
supervisor over programming, including special events, senior programming, therapeutic recreation programming. And if she wanted to say a few words, she's more than welcome, but wanted to make sure I introduced her to the board.
What Jeff said, and I'm excited to be here.
Here.
Some of her, go ahead, Trev.
Last meeting, I introduced another new staff member, Tyler Brown, and now with Sarah, we were kind of in the lobby all together, and a staff member joked and said, "Travis, this is the first time you've been full staff since COVID," and that's refreshing. So again, what Jeff said, more of the therapeutic recreation, seniors, and then special events. And our first one we're getting on is the play day in the park, and that event we have not had since COVID. So that's a big thing for us to bring that back to the community. So we're looking forward to that.
That's 4th of July, right?
4th of July.
Okay.
And one thing I did neglect to say is that Sarah will be responsible for our summer day camp that's housed at the field house, and yeah, we both forgot to say that, but those are some of her primary duties leading off in her short 2.5 weeks that she's been with us. So.
All right, on item number 3, the Citizens Forum. I'm sorry. If anyone would like to give a presentation or ask questions to the Park and Recreation Advisory Board, there is a strict limit of 5 minutes.
Let's go podium.
Per person. Yeah, per person.
My name's Carolyn Hofer, and I'm one of the pickleball people. And we found out on Friday that we are not allowed to use the old tennis court area at Oakdale Park for pickleball. We have 4 courts painted out there that get used regularly by many people when it's not winter, obviously. But that is our only outdoor option. And so we are here to see if there are any other options for us, or if there is something that can be done with regard to that area. We were playing out there October, November, and the middle school tennis teams were out there, so I don't understand really why it can't be used now, but that's what we were told on Friday.
Is there a reason why? I'm just gonna.
Jeff?
So several months ago, we had an evaluation of all of our tennis courts in the community, Jerry Ivy, Sunset Park, and Oakdale, from an insurance adjuster who works for the city, and made a strongly worded recommendation that they all be closed based on their condition, their disrepair. And part of that was part of the process of identifying courts for improvements, one of which would be Jerry Ivy courts, which the USD 305 has under construction right now. And then also the Kenwood Park courts that have recently opened at Kenwood Park near Tony's Pizza Event Center. During that time frame, of course, while those courts in Kenwood Park are under construction for tennis, We did make a exception, or we did make an evaluation of individual courts within Oakdale, within Sunset, and within Jerry Ivy. Jerry Ivy, as they were, and Sunset were unplayable and unsafe. We did make a determination by court of Oakdale from our park staff at the time, which ones were available for use. And four of those courts are in better condition than others, and that's where the pickleball group has been playing. This was done in that evaluation by park staff to try to isolate the bad ones from the good ones. We're trying to accommodate several things. One was the school district, so they have a place to play, because at that time there was no other place to play. Also for the pickleball group to use as pickleball courts. It was done with the intention of waiting until we had courts available to play, which we now have at Kenwood Park at the new courts for tennis across from Tony's Pizza Event Center. So my direction has been that we need to honor the evaluation, strongly worded evaluation done by the insurance company that the city hired to evaluate the courts, to honor that, to try to close them.
But those 4 courts on the south side were deemed playable last fall, and I mean, they're not a hazard. I mean, they are still playable. They just don't have nets for tennis, but they do have lines for pickleball.
Well, I find your statement extremely interesting. It was okay to play tennis on there till the tennis courts got open, and now the tennis courts are open, and now we can't play on them? That's an interesting statement.
It was
Why was it safe when we didn't have any of the tennis courts? Now we have tennis courts, and now they're not safe to play pickleball on.
I'm trying to understand your question.
Well,
That was your statement.
I mean, nothing's happened to them since
Whoa.
October when we were out on there. I guess what doesn't make sense
I understand the
is
difference.
that, now insurance won't cover it because they're not safe, but those courts haven't changed and the insurance did cover it before. So would it be possible to talk to your insurance folks again and perhaps get that area covered so we have a place to play?
Well, there's only 2 tennis
And
courts we're using. We're not
Right,
using the whole facility,
yeah.
just those 2 tennis
It's
courts.
the southeast 2 tennis courts, and they're not a hazard. I mean, I can certainly see why they don't want people on Sunset Park. It's a mess, but there's really no reason why we can't use that or shouldn't be able to use that area until the new pickleball facility is built, which is gonna be a while.
I certainly can readdress that with our risk manager for the city.
Can they block off the other tennis courts and just utilize those 2, what I think are good courts?
I think anything's possible as far as blocking off something. However, I need to go through our risk manager for the city to determine if there can be an additional evaluation done.
That would be awesome.
Because-
Late fall, we were filling those 4
Yeah.
pickleball courts.
I know you've been playing.
We have groups that meet regularly. I was getting ready to move our women's group outside next week, which is when I found out that we couldn't use them. But we'll have 3 or 4 courts full on the weekends, and so we really very grateful if that could be reopened.
I think
So my understanding is that because of the risk management for the city has said to shut it down, that's why we had to shut it down. But we didn't take care of, if we make a decision like that, you didn't take care of the pickleball players so they can't play at the new tennis court.
It's not marked.
'Cause, the pickleball improvements that were made there were not done by the city.
tennis court? Well, I mean, like, so if you're shutting down the pickleball courts, then they can be switched over to the tennis courts that just got finished, right?
No, we can't play at the
That would
If you're
be,
shutting down this thing and pickleball is here, shouldn't we make it open that they should be able to play at the new place, since those are okay?
the new place is
Okay.
under an operating agreement by a public-private partnership by the city of Salina with Salina Tennis
Give you
Alliance.
Something to go talk to your risk management people about. To say that.
Just a suggestion.
This one sport that's really active, called pickleball, is being used a lot, and you shut the court down, but then you don't allow a place to go to. That's just doesn't make sense. And I don't put it on you, it's just the risk management people have to understand that.
Got it.
Is it a liability issue, or is that what the
That's
issue?
what the insurance adjuster, when they provided the inspection, said that the strongly worded message was to close all the tennis facilities as a blanket suggestion for Oakdale, Jerry Ivy, and for Sunset Park.
So I understand the liability issue, but I also understand the point of it was they were using it as tennis courts up until the new facility opened. I get that point also, and now it's not usable because I get that point. I mean,
We're trying to honor the recommendation from the insurance adjuster. And I'm not trying to
no, yeah, I mean,
put
I see
that,
the
I
both.
also don't want to put the pickleball group out of commission either. So I
Correct,
need to
yeah.
find a solution.
Yeah.
And there are some solutions, well, there are some paths of, I can't say there's solutions at this point in time, but there are paths I can take to try to investigate more.
Okay, well, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Is there a temporary location that could possible? I mean, that you know of, that you can think of off the top of your head.
I did think about it over the weekend because Carolyn called me on Friday.
and Monday.
So I was aware that they were going to have a presence today, and I encouraged them to come. I have thought about over the weekend. We did provide a court space and lined at Berkeley Family Recreational Area, but that really is inferior. It's not really playable.
Parking lot.
Where is that? Oh,
That's a joke.
Yeah, it has a lot of issues, very abrasive concrete, strong wind. There's not really anything containing play, so the ball tends to get away. So at this point in time, I haven't come up with another solution unless it's indoor. Field house is an option, but it's summer, and they want to be outside. I get that.
well, and if I could say one other thing, the field house people are really nice to us, but it is very limited when you can play there. Very limited. And if you work during the day, you don't have any place to play pickleball. The field house is available limited times, sometimes during the day. It's not really available on the weekend. The Y is available in the morning, but that's it. Sometimes Sunday afternoon. No evening play anywhere. So our spot at Oakdale is all we got.
Just out of curiosity, what is the plan on the update of Oakdale Park pickleball courts?
We're currently seeking a request for qualifications from designers who would design us a pickleball court that we can agree upon, that we can use for bidding process. That would start in April. We would do a request for proposals for construction of pickleball and get that approved through commission. I would like to bring that before the advisory board as well. And then in theory, sign an agreement for construction that would start sometime after KKOA at the end of July. That's what my hope is. That all kind of depends on going through that steps, and also the schedule of the selected contractor. They might be booked up until, the end of summer. I don't know yet.
So is it already a budgeted item then?
The funding for the design is coming from park staff, where the city's paying for the design. The funds for the construction is coming from a donor a donor has wished to fund the construction of pickleball courts and other improvements to that existing slab, concrete slab on the south courts at Oakdale, which is the same courts that they play on now, the same space, if you will.
Thank you all very
Are
much.
there any other questions? Anyone? No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget about Denny. He might have questions.
Denny,
too.
I'm sorry. Denny, do you have any questions?
No, I understand the situation.
All right, that brings up to item number 4, approval of agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All those opposed? Nay. The agenda has been approved. Item number 5, approval of minutes.
I am so sorry. Who provided?
Oh, I moved
Yeah.
and he seconded.
What's his face over here did?
Bruce?
Yes.
And that was for the agenda.
Correct. Yes, sir.
And you're about ready to approval of the minutes, right?
That is,
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Awesome. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Morgan's not here today, so. Oh, thank you, Trav.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
All right. We did a
All right.
motion for the minutes.
We have a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
Wait,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just saying, but I can make it. I move we approve the
Oh,
minutes,
I thought you made the motion. Okay.
but you seconded already.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Say
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Activity reports.
Got a few things for you today I want to touch on, and if you have any questions about anything, I'd be happy to answer. One I want to make sure I cover. One of the advisory board members asked me a question through email, and I want to answer that. Under facilities maintenance at the end, they asked what silt fencing was. Silt fencing is sometimes called sand fencing or soil fencing, but we called it silt fencing. It's temporary fencing that's put around a construction site, typically for erosion control. So it's 18 inches, 20 inches tall or so, 2 feet tall, around black. It's black fabric type fencing that's around the tennis site currently, and the wind and water, rain kind of tend to degrade it, so it has to be rebuilt. While we're waiting for grass seed to be put down and grown so we can provide the grass as the erosion control rather than the fence.
Thank you, that was me. It's the third item on the facilities management.
Yeah. Going back to the beginning, let's see, we've been, park staff has been mulching playgrounds, a yearly process of regenerating, refreshing engineered wood fiber mulch at our parks. We purchased a significant amount of wood for benches and tables, so we've been working through our park system with our park staff to replace wood on benches and picnic tables. In forestry, 14 tree removals for dead or damaged trees. 31 trees, that's 31 trees trimmed at 3 of our parks. That's pretty significant. They've been working pretty hard on that. Landscaping, I was amazed and when I saw the number of 4,000 ornamental grasses were pruned. That number blows my mind of how many ornamental grasses we have in parks in downtown that we have to trim back every year.
So let me ask you this. One ornamental grass, is that like a clump? A clump of grass? It's
I
not
would
like
say so, yeah.
4,000 pieces of grass? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Add a decking material to the concrete planters. So you might have seen Oakdale Park, the concrete planters that try to provide a road closure or a partial road closure for the Oakdale entrance on the northeast side. And that is now installed and there has been for a few weeks. Under Lakewood, we provided a picture of a mural I think it's inside the Lakewood Discovery Center, I believe. I think every year Brian Underwood, our natural resources supervisors, he tries to set aside a little bit of money to update the murals that are inside the Discovery Center or add new. And as I mentioned last month, we have a few registrations for our library programming under instructional and therapeutic recreation, and we are looking forward to that in April. Must have been a warm month for golf course because there was 1,200 rounds played for the month of February, which is above average. And also in the golf course has removed several pine trees that are dying over the course of the last couple of years from a pine tree disease. We also had some damage from a windstorm that we had a year and a half ago, and so they began replacing some trees at the golf course. Let's see, facilities maintenance. Oh, I'll let Travis go in a minute here, sorry. We repaired that silt fencing, and we installed the keypads and the infrastructure for the keypad entry at the new tennis facility at Kenwood Park. So that is operational and being used by that group. And Bill Burke, the south bathroom is continuing to be remodeled, and the Burke concessions staff, or concessions building and Empire locker room. I walked it yesterday after a meeting, and it's amazing. It looks beautiful. But if there's any other, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Trav, if you want to talk about any of your stuff, I'm sorry.
Yeah, first of all, I just wanted to apologize to you up front because I lied to you last board meeting. February is our busiest month in the field house, not January. So we had a lot going on. And just a few items to note you should be aware of. We did receive the National Homeschool Tournament, National Basketball Tournament. It was held in Hutch up until now, and so starting next year, we will host that. We're on a 3-year contract. So that stemmed from a year or two, the homeschool came to us and needing a place to practice or play games with St. John's shutting down, and they were kind of looking for a facility, and I think the field house is a perfect facility for them. So now they're operating pretty much all the practices and games out of the facility. They do host a tournament. One of their teams did play in their tournament. Look at the facility. I showed it to them again. And then another team, the Reno County Sabres, played in that tournament, looked at our facility, and even they hosted a tournament in our field house in February. So a lot is starting to flourish because people are viewing playing in our facility. So that's a good thing. Salina Liberty, they did have their camp. As you may or may not know, that Salina Liberty plays at Tony's Pizza Event Center, but when the turf's not down, they need a place to practice, so they practice in the field house. So just wanted to mention that to you. We hosted 7 events in the field house just in the month of February. So do the math on that one. Sometimes they overlap, or 2 events going on at the same time. It does create some problems, but I love problems to solve. So we're trying to solve them. And again, 2 of them, one of those was the Reno County Homeschool Tournament that looks to be coming back next year. And then Kansas Youth Basketball Tournament. That was a new one for us as well. So field maintenance, they're ramping up for baseball and softball. We had high school teams, college teams starting to practice and play games already. With Bill Burke still under construction, we have the bulk of those teams up at Berkeley Family Recreational Area for practices. So we're piecing it together.
How'd the wrestling event go? The
XWE, we host probably 7 or 8 of them in the field house annually. So that's a pretty cool, it's different event. And matter of fact, Sarah and I just met with their director yesterday about how we can incorporate the therapeutic recreation peeps in that program. And because when we did have therapeutic recreation up and going, they went to Wichita, they traveled places because that's a great event for that population. So we do have a few on the books up until I believe October, and then we'll schedule more the next round. So
it's for special populations then?
no,
Like
it's just
what?
XWE, but we're trying to incorporate special populations,
Okay.
get them going within, because
I thought
it's
it was like, yeah, professional wrestling stuff.
it's semi-pro.
All-star wrestling.
It's semi-pro, yeah.
It's an event that I was just going to add that it's an event that population enjoys attending. So we're going to try and incorporate them and have their special little reserved seating and get them involved a little bit more.
Is that all? Any questions on activity reports?
Just one quick question. The cemetery, the computer, do you know how soon that will be there?
It is there. It has been installed. We're having a few.
I thought that was.
Yeah, they're having a
there.
few issues with it. The updating system isn't working quite right, so, and it has to be manually turned on every morning, but other than that, it's up and working. It's just getting the bugs worked out of
I
it,
walked
so.
by it and I thought that was new, but I thought,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
imagine that,
If you
but it
get
looks-
closer to it, it's actually really nice.
it is really nice.
Yeah, it is.
Tell about it. I don't know anything about it.
It's called a kiosk system for the cemetery where the names of the people buried in the cemetery, if we're not on staff, they can go to the computer and type in the name and it shows the name, location. This new one has a lot more information about them. So it's kind of a neat deal. You can add photos, you can do a lot more with it than the old one, so.
And it's my understanding, and Dennis can correct me, the old one was, 10 plus years old
Oh, definitely, yeah.
and started failing. The touchscreen stopped working. With technology, it doesn't last forever. So,
It's a nice tool if you have a loved one there and you're not sure where they're at, and it's a Sunday or something, and
Exactly.
it's just a nice little tool. So
Yep. Where is that located? It's just north of the office of the cemetery. It's in the cemetery. You come up that lane off of Iron. If you come up that lane.
Oh, okay,
And if you come straight up, you run right into it. It's under a little shelter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice gazebo.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right. Bring us to item number 7, new business.
I don't have any new business for you today.
All right. Item number 8, old business.
Old business, I didn't put on the agenda, but I just wanted to kind of give you some project updates. Travis mentioned Bill Burke. We walked Bill Burke yesterday for getting close to the end of the turf install. They have a few more days work to install the turf and get it perfect. There's some remedial work that needs to be done from the contractor, some irrigation, some seeding and sodding, cleaning up, and various things. But we're at the end. They're probably 80%, 85% completed at this point. So hopefully by next meeting I can give you more clear about what needs to be done, and hopefully we can play some ball games before the next meeting. Lakewood Playground, weather's starting to change, weather's starting to improve. We should be doing concrete curbing and sidewalks here this month, or at least starting this month. And then that will allow for the flooring or surfacing contractor to come in and put that pour-in-place flooring into the playground. And we can have, hopefully at the end of April, 1st of May, I don't know, I'm not sure of the timeline yet, but we're hoping to have a grand opening with Great Plains Manufacturing, because they ever helped sponsor that playground.
I see a lot of kids just wishing they could get on it.
Yeah, we have some temporary fencing around there, and unfortunately the weather didn't help us out, but that poured in place surfacing needs 45-degree weather or higher, even for the nighttime temperatures. So once we start averaging those overnight temperatures of 40 and above, then that's when that type of flooring can be installed. So the glue can set.
Yeah, might not be for a while.
That's all I got for you right now today. Unless the board has any specific questions.
All right, item number 9, general announcements.
I don't have anything.
Anyone? All right, brings us to number 10, adjournment. Anyone want a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second it.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Double aye.
All right, that carries 6-0. We're adjourned.